Welcome back to the Tao vlog with Sage in Training. Responding once again to Mr. Penguin. Our similarities at this point are starting to border on the creepy. Right down to the shoe size. I would replace Buddhism with Judaism, and I think we've pretty much filled the religious path rule here for a while. I might get into more detail about some of my experiences in later videos as it comes up in context. What I want to mostly do in this video is talk about, like I mentioned in the last one, the function and purpose of the Tao Te Ching. And in that, I don't think I could agree with you anymore. It was actually kind of astonishing that we came to the same conclusions, because again, I'm not really exposed to other Taoists very regularly anymore. So yeah, I think you're right. There's a goal that we have to seek that's external. I felt that Lao Tzu sat down and kind of looked at what was already in the world and in the person, and he didn't really try to elaborate on it. He elaborated, but he didn't try to garnish it with a whole lot of extras and decorations. He was pointing out what was there, and what really exists, and where to use that. Now, I do think that there is there's definitely a hesitate to say spiritual, but I'm going to go ahead and do it, a spiritual element, or I guess I should say a supernatural element to the Tao Te Ching and to Taoism, but without its very everyday circumstance that it applies to, that information is useless. So it's I don't like calling it a religion, just like you don't, in the sense that religion is not a very easily definable variable. There's a lot of ways we could define it and put it into context, and not everyone's going to agree with those. And when you hear the word religion, people think of different things. And philosophy is a dangerous one too, to a certain extent. But it's just Tao, and I think you mentioned that it's Tao. Without pointing out too many specifics, because I think there's going to be later videos where we have the opportunity to really get into detail, and there's a lot of things that we're going to have to define. I think that's one of the hardest parts with Taoism, or any Eastern religion especially, is that I think in the West, we grew up with Western religions. So even if you weren't a part of it, even if you grew up atheist, I think most people are familiar with concepts like the Holy Spirit and God and things like that. They know what those things are. Eastern terms, especially the ones that aren't really translated, they're just there, require a contextual definition by us. So as we go through, there's obviously going to be things we have to define. We got to define Tao and itself, which is, for reasons you and I are aware, is kind of ironic that we have to try to define Tao. But one thing I will point out very specifically is that, in the Tao Te Ching, there's a lot of mentions of the sage. And I do tend to think of that as being like a perfected state of self that we're in pursuit of. But it's the way you pointed out that there's no goal. It's just is what it is true in the external sense to me. I like to compare, if there is a goal to Taoism, I like to compare it to kind of like sculpting, in which you start off with a large block of stone, and you're not adding things to it. The perfected image you're going for is already there. You're chiseling away at what's not needed. And if there's a goal to Taoism, I think that's the analogy that kind of sums it up. Is you're finding within yourself what's already there that you just need to bring out into the open. So that's what I think the function of the Tao Te Ching is to be as a guidebook to reaching that point. We haven't gotten into, between the two of us, if there's any other text that you're using besides the Tao Te Ching. We can do that at a later point, because like I've said before, I think that in terms of the very Western word, and that's something I'd like to get into later, Taoism itself, the word Taoism is a very Western word. I think to qualify that, you have to have some kind of standard with the Tao Te Ching itself. That is the primary text. So for the time being, we should definitely be focused only on the Tao Te Ching. And I'm assuming that in our next set of videos, we're going to start doing like you said, and we're going to start going verse by verse. So what I think I would like to do is get with you a little bit behind the scenes and kind of figure out how we're going to pursue this with both of us making videos. And we've got to figure out what versions we're using and everything, because we need to be able to bounce off of each other. And like you said before, if anybody else wants to bounce in here, feel free. It's YouTube, so we can't stop you. But by all means, go right ahead. And I don't know how many of my previous subscribers have given up looking at this thing in the last 10 months, but we're still out here and we're making videos. So come down anytime. We've got cookies. So this is Sage in Training, signing out. Hopefully another video within a week. We'll see what Mr. Penguin has to say when I get with him. Thanks. Bye.